How you doing? Let me turn this down. I love some of the James, guys. This is real old school. That's what I'm about. In fact, you're gonna know that. How you doing? I'm Gary D, and welcome to Gary D TV. I've been telling y'all I'm gonna start a podcast, and yet I have yet to bring out my first video. The reason is I'm trying, man. Anything about doing something good, you gotta have practice. You just can't jump into it. I thought you could, but then I realized, no, you're not talking to yourself, or you're not talking to a friend. You're talking to the world. So you actually have to come out and be relatable to them. Well, my name is Gary Michael DeMilo, but no one knew that, and I didn't know myself until I turned 18 years old. Most of y'all know me as Gary Michael Beheimer. I'm going to try to be as honest with you through this whole thing that I can possibly be. And to let you know who I am and how old school I was, a lot of you knew my grandmother and grandfather. My grandmother has been my wingman all my life. Y'all think that's kind of funny, but I'm going to explain to you how. My grandmother and grandfather, even though we had nothing, would love to dance at nighttime. They would dance to Lawrence Welk, they would dance to anything like that, and my grandmother taught me how to dance. Well, the one thing they never did is they never taught me about sexual education, let's say, because they were old school, all right? They didn't know what to say, and I don't blame them for it. But everything I learned about sexual education, I learned through the public school system. That being said, I never knew what it was like to be with a woman. I used to watch those videos of my grandmother and my grandfather, that they would watch those movies, and it would be, Scarlett O'Hara or Gone with the Wind or things like that. And when you went to have sexual relationships with a woman, the wind should be blowing. There should be rose petals going through the ground, and she should look at you with those eyes. And when you lay her down, the kiss should be phenomenal. And that's what it was. That's what I considered lovemaking. But let me tell you something. Um, when you are 508 pounds going through high school and you've never touched a woman your whole life, the idea of what you think lovemaking is to the chance that you actually get to make love is two different things. Okay? Let's start here. All of you who really know me know that I've been a big guy all my life. My freshman year, I weighed 318 pounds, 6'3". And when and when I went to high school, I never thought that I was going to have like any kind of sex relationship. All I cared about was sports. Now there's a younger part of me that I'll let you know later on in my life, but the one thing you knew when you went to high school, your emotions, your psychological, your physical things are like changing. And you have all your jock friends talking about, hey man, I just got with this girl and I just did this. And me, myself, was thinking, I just want to kiss. I just want to kiss. Can I kiss somebody? Well, as you go through, my freshman year, I'm 6'2 and a half, 320 pounds. My sophomore year, I'm 6'3 and a half, 345 pounds. My junior year, I'm 6'4", 6'5", somewhere in the middle, and I'm 395 pounds. They actually had to bring in the doggy scale to weigh me because the regular 350-pound scale don't go that high. So I just started getting bigger and bigger. I was actually the heaviest athlete in the United States of America under the age of 18 at 6'4" and a half, 508 pounds. They had to weigh me in on the freight scale in the hospital before my stomach stapling operation. So when you're that big, the most important thing to me was being a champion. It wasn't getting laid, but I wanted to because all my friends were. I'm like the one thing you want when you're in high school as a high school student is you want to play sports, you kind of want to get grades, and you want to get laid. All right, that's the three things that you want. Now, my friends were getting laid all the time. At least that's what they were telling me. But I didn't know what a girlfriend was. Never had one. But you know how when you don't have a girlfriend and you want to convince your friends that you have a girlfriend, you always have that story. Yeah, man, I got a girlfriend. She goes to a different school. And you can't make that up. And they're like, man, come on. I'm like, in my day, it was she went to Rangeview, the furthest high school you could get out of the community. That's where she went. Well, I'm out with my friends all the time, and I'm hearing about all the girls they're going with, and one of my boy Bruce and Sean, y'all know who they are, Bruce Collier, Sean Conley. They're trying to give me the test of if I ever had a girlfriend before. So we're riding in my car, and I know I have never been laid before. I know they have, but I'm trying to stay with the rest of the group. So my boy Bruce said, man, come on, you ain't been with a girl. I'm like, yeah, bro, I have been with a girl, man. No, man, really. Is she going to a different school? so, so he says, all right, tell me what titties feel like. Now, this is the truth. Before the 40-year-old virgin, before any of that, the only thing I could think of was, titties feel like a bag of sand, all right? Then you squeeze them. That's what I thought they felt. I should have said water balloon, damn it. I should have said it. But they were laughing, and they busted my balls, and it's all cool and shit, because that's what you do. But then my boy Sean said, all right, then if you had pussy before, I'm sorry about the word, nay before, okay? He said, what does it taste like? What does it smell like? Now, a smart person, okay, would have said, nothing. Good. Tastes good. My dumb ass says smell like fish. Now, I want you to get this together, okay? You got sand titties and fish pussy. Okay, that's what you have, all right? My boys would be like, oh, you got a nasty ass girlfriend if you got that. I didn't understand this. Nevertheless, that being said, later on, as I got older and went to my senior year, all these colleges wanted me, but I had to lose the weight. Once again, I still have not been with a woman. So I was the youngest kid in America under the age of 18 years old to get the gastric stapling operation. Now, this operation had the stomach actually cut in, folded over, and then stapled. The regular stomach is about the size of a fist. My stomach was the size of a huge dinner plate. You got to think about this. I could throw down 20 Big Macs, 4 large order of fries, ice cream, and Coke, and 3 hours later I'd eat again. And all my friends can testify to that. They know that. But I was still an athlete. Don't get me wrong. I played, wrestled, and I was a champion. No one can take that from me. However, as I got bigger, the colleges didn't want me unless I lost the weight. So I chose to have the operation, and after the operation, things went pretty well. I lost 210 pounds in 3 months. Can you believe that? And I have never ran so fast in my life that I tripped over myself. I've never done a pull-up all my life, and after that operation, 4 or 5 months later after I worked out, I could do 100 pull-ups. It was incredible. Couldn't believe it. Well, as I lost the weight, all of a sudden, the sexiness of Gary D started to come out. I started to think, you know what? I'm kind of good looking. I mean, shit, the girls like me. That's cool. The problem is that I did not know what it was like to have a relationship with a woman. I had no clue. I knew what my grandmother and grandfather thought was. I never knew what any kind of sexual education was. I learned that from public schools. So I thought to myself, well, this is cool. I actually can have a date with women, and they like me. Well, my freshman year, I went to Oklahoma University, and we were practicing during that time. That was with Coach Swisher, and that's another story. I think a lot of you know how he came to my house, and and recruited me, and my grandmother told him I don't give a damn about fucking football. My grandfather almost lost his dinner on that one, okay? He was like, you cannot talk to Coach Switzer like that. But she didn't care. All she cared about was an education. Nevertheless, I'm at OU, and I'm practicing, I'm in good shape, and I come to find out that there is this cheerleader, a junior cheerleader, that likes me. Now, I've never had a girl actually come out and tell another girl or anyone else that they like me. You know what I'm saying to you? And not only that, but she's 105 pounds, like 5'4", uh, fine. I mean, fine. Okay, I'm like, oh my God, I like this girl. I will drink her bathwater. Damn it, she's that fine. Okay, well, she tells her friend, I want to get with him. Well, my boys were telling me that. Now, at OU, it's not like other schools and stuff. The football team has its own building. Okay, you don't have to have a frat there. Whatever happens there, happens there. This one, Jamal Holloway was a quarterback, and Brian Bosworth was a middle linebacker. Tony Casillas, I played behind a nose tackle. We had team. We had a team, okay? Well, the girls would come to the game room at OU, and they would all hang out. And it was almost like what an NFL thing would be today, but with girls coming. You know what I mean? So you got to hang out with the girls. Well, I knew she liked me. So I actually got up the nerve after my boy talked to me and said, gee, you got to go up and talk to her, man. She likes you. She tells the girls like you. I have never been out with a girl in my life, so I have no idea what to say to this woman. But I thought to myself, I'm going back to the old school movies that my grandma had me watch. So I walk up to her and I say, I would love to tell you, how are you doing? I'm Gary. And I hear that we have some of the same similarities alike, and I would love to take you out this evening. And she said, sure, let's go out. I said, what would you like to do? She said, whatever you want to do. I said, cool. Now, in Oklahoma, believe me, the football team had, let's say, we could do the things that other people couldn't do, even though we were under 21. That means we can go to the bar, get served, all that stuff. So I took her out. We went partying, and it was cool, man. I was like, I can't even believe I'm out with this girl. I'm looking her up and down, but not trying to be a pervert or nothing. I'm just like, oh my God, this girl is fine, and she's out with me. You know what I mean? So I was like, let's do whatever you want to do. Can I take you out to dinner? And she goes, no, let's have appetizers here and we'll go home later. And I said, sure, I'm more than happy to take you home. So we had a drink, some appetizer, and I'm trying to do this thing like the gentleman. You know what a gentleman would do? Like, I'm going to take you home, give you a kiss at the doorstep, and I'm going to go home. But what I didn't know is that that's not what she wanted. That's not what she had in mind. So I said, well, where do you live? She goes, well, I live in this house outside off campus. And I'm saying to myself, how you live in a big ass house off campus? You know, you on the same scholarship I'm on. And she's like, no, I live with one of the professors at the school, and I'm a roommate of his. And when he had seniority, so when he was gone and out of the country, she just had control of the whole house. And I asked her, well, that's kind of cool and stuff, but it just seemed a little weird. And she was like, well, you know, it's like a friends with benefits thing. And I was like, well, dude, that's cool. It's college. You know what I mean? You got a whole house to yourself when he's gone? Well, shit, more power to you. Okay? Well, we went there. And we went in, and she took off her jacket. She said, why don't you sit down? And she goes, you want a drink? I said, yeah, I'll take a drink. So she went and poured us a drink and turned on the TV. Now, she is sitting on the couch, but I'm sitting on the chair beside her because you have to be a gentleman. You understand? Well, she decided that after a couple drinks, she wanted me to come sit next to her. And now, in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, this is really going to happen. Because my boys were telling me, oh yeah, dude, she's fine. And yeah, she only picks out, you know, guys that are really cool and stuff like that. So I'm like, this is going to happen. Knowing that I have never had sex a day in my life. And I'm waiting for the wind to blow and flower rosebuds to come through the house. But that is not happening at this time. But I do go sit next to this woman on the couch. And she reaches across me and puts her drink down. That means that she reached across and her chest came across me, and I'm looking at her and I'm like, wow, this is actually going to happen. And so as she does that, she reaches up and kisses me. And I guess I'm a good kisser. I've seen a lot of movies. I got a big mouth and a big tongue. I guess maybe that works. I don't know. But she loved the way I kiss her. So I put my drink down and we started making out. Well, I'm still waiting for the wind. There still are no flowers, but I'm thinking it might come any time now. And I'm looking at her and I want to be just like, there. And she tells me, she looks in my eyes and she says the most sexiest thing that she could say to her. And that was, pull my hair. And I'm like, what? All right. And she says, pull my hair. And so, do you know how, like, when you're a third grader in elementary school and you want to get the attention of a girl that you like, but you don't know how to do it? You reach across and you pull her ponytail. Just a little tug, okay? And you're like, hey. And she gets mad at you, but she notices it's you. So, guess what Gary D did? I went and pulled her fucking tail, okay? That's what I did. And we're making out, and I'm actually into second base, and I'm feeling titties and everything, and I'm good. Things are going good. She's rubbing on me and shit. And then she says to me, she says, I want you to choke me. And I said, what? She goes, yes, I want you to choke me. And I'm thinking about it, and as we're making out, she reaches down, she undoes my belt with one hand, and she pulls my entire belt off my pants. I'm sorry. Okay, I want to tell you something. I myself has dressed myself for over 18 years, and I was never ever able to take my belt off as fast as she took my belt off at that time. All right? I have never done that. I'm waiting for wind and rosebuds. No wind and rosebuds yet, but her belt is off. Ooh. And she's asking me to pull her hair and choke her. So I reach up to her neck and she says, choke me hard. And I put my hand on her neck and I'm like, all right, yeah, I'll calm myself. Yes, I was, at that time, I was a feminine bastard. That's what I was, okay? So I do that a little bit and she says, choke me harder. And I do it a little bit harder and she says, come on, do this. And I'm like, I'm 6'5", 295 pounds. If I choke you, I'm going to kill you. All right, this is what I thought she would have me to do. I had no idea that this woman knew more about sex than I could ever know in 19 years. Now today, it's a whole nother story, and we'll get into that at another time, all right? But I had no idea what she was meaning. Like I told you, this is a story about the first time I almost had sex. You will never had someone like me who's never seen a fine girl like that ready just to have sex with me. And you know what I did after she took my belt off? I told her, hey, I'm sorry, but I forgot I have a test in the morning. This is what I said. Not because I didn't want to have sex, but because I thought this woman was going to kill me in the bed. I had no idea what was going to happen. There was no wind. I seen the hair, no blowing through there. I didn't lay her down on the mattress and the gentle kisses. None of that happened. It was choke me and pull my hair. I'm sorry, but when it goes to that situation, I got a test to go do. Now y'all can call me a pussy. I don't give a damn what you call me. But when you are in that kind of predicament, and it's the very first time that when you are going to think you're having sex, but it's not going to happen. I'm sorry, but that's the way my first time that I almost had sex was. Forgive me. But I am still old school to this day. I hope you guys like this video. I hope you subscribe. I love all y'all. Have a good night. Peace. Gary D, and I'm out of here.